love sports. Sports has taught me over and over again that only if I risk going far can I find out how far I can go. Nearly 15 years ago, I started my career as a psychotherapist. I was working at a hospital in Saudi. And as many of you know, Saudi back then was quite different. It was considered the least active country in the world. And access to sports for women was very limited. So a few months into working at the hospital, I felt a strong urge to teach dance classes. I wanted to move. Now, the idea sounded simple, but it was quite a risk. Music was not allowed in public venues. Organized sports for women was unconventional. How will this be received? Can I even teach a class? Do I know how to teach a class? Well, there's only one way to know. I risked it. I gathered a group of psychologists, and I taught my first dance class at the hospital. That first dance class was a mess. But it didn't matter. What mattered is everyone left feeling excited and energized. And so I started to schedule these classes weekly. I started to get better, and eventually I moved on to different groups. My friends, parents of friends, at embassies. And after a few years of teaching classes across Riyadh, I signed with Nike as their first ambassador and trainer in the kingdom. Together, we launched the Nike Training Club. And as glamorous as it sounds, we didn't have a venue. And we had to keep everything very low-key. So my stepfather suggested a solution, a temporary solution, using a warehouse in his office building. Now, the warehouse was bare. It looked like a construction site. There was no ventilation. But I had no other choice. So I started running the classes from the warehouse. And so many women showed up to my surprise. And guys, just to give you an idea, we would wait out of the office building for the men to leave before we could sneak in and move. And with that, the classes were still fire. So I scheduled all my classes in that space, offered that space for other trainers. Bless my stepfather. He thought this was a temporary solution. We ain't going nowhere. This became a thing in Saudi, a popular thing. So I quit my full-time job and I focused entirely on this community. And I honestly had no idea what I was doing. I just took risks and I went with it. In a span of 5 years, we went from being an underground community at a warehouse to becoming Saudi's first dance studio.
YOLO, 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 YOLO.
Move was not just a dance studio. It was a national movement, the movement that Saudi needed. We enabled thousands and thousands of people to move across the kingdom in partnership with a newly developed Ministry of Sports, companies like Nike and Apple. This was all at a time when Saudi started to change. It couldn't have been at a better time. And when I was not coaching and running the studio, you'd find me training. I immersed myself in sports completely. And I wanted to pave the way for women. I wanted to show them how they can do outdoor sports in this tricky environment. So I went from barely being able to run 400 meters to running marathons around the world. Eventually, triathlons. And I didn't know what I was doing. And then I started to hike a lot. In 2019, I found myself standing at 8,848 meters above sea level. Do you guys know where that is? Everest. Imagine I had not taken that step and that risk of teaching these horrible dance classes at the hospital. I wouldn't be standing on top of the world, literally on top of the world. Little did I know what was to come. In 2020, COVID plagues the world. Saudi endures full lockdown. Move, my dance studio, suffered so much. We kept trying to drag it out, but eventually, I had to close the dance studio. And I thought that would be the hardest thing I have to do in my life. November 2020, my father passed away. Allah yarhamu. From top of the world in 2019 to the deepest, darkest rock bottom in 2020. How am I going to go through life again? How am I going to move forward? What would my dad want for me?
Only those who risk going far can find out how far they can go.
This is my dad. And he would want me to take risks. So I took risks. A few days after Dad passed away, I started an initiative in his honor called Sunday Sports because Baba loved doing sports on Sunday. So people all across the world joined me virtually to train with me. 9 days later, I taught a dance program streamed by thousands for Nike. I showed up broken with my grief. I took that risk. And 1 year later, I made it to the top of the world again. This time around, I made history for the Arab region by becoming the first Arab to stand on the world's most dangerous mountain, K2.
Never give up. Never give up. These are happy tears.
And since K2, I've climbed the 3rd, 4th, and 5th highest peaks in the world, becoming the first Lebanese to do so. And I set a world record for the 4 most finger pull-ups in 1 minute. Random, but not random. Guys, my biggest flex, is not my grip strength or my lung capacity. It's my capacity to take risks. And when I hit rock bottom, is when taking risks mattered the most. It's when taking risks propelled me the furthest. Guys, I really hope that my story today inspires you to take a risk towards what you're afraid to do. You don't know where it's going to take you. Because only those who risk going far will go far. Thank you.